As time slowly moved on and it progressed into the £70 era, it was very rare to see £35 jackpot machines out and about. I mean, I'd say that the only place that you would normally see these is in smaller, dingy pubs, ones that had companies that supplied the machines that were slightly behind the times or maybe didn't have too much foothold in the supplying business. But overall, big chain pubs all in the UK, from Wetherspoons to Yates to O'Neill's, would be hosting £70 jackpot machines. Now, weirdly enough, games such as the one that you see in front of you that were on 35 did make the upgrade to 70. Now, that wasn't the strange part. The weird thing about it was that when this transition happens, games that might well be a couple of years old are treated as new games and they're mass released again. And this is what machines such as Barcrest, Rainbow Riches in front of you, and the one on the left, Robbed the Bank. And there was a third one called Star Wars A New Hope, which was obviously just Star Wars themed, and it had a grey shell, grey bubble shell. They were three examples of this. £35 jackpot machines that made the transition, were put up to 70 and then mass re-released in the big chain pubs. Now, this wasn't a bad thing. This game at the time, at £70 release, was a fantastic little earner. And when I first got told this and went to the pub to go try it, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I couldn't believe what I saw, that a machine that could have this programming could actually do what it actually did. I mean, you'll see in a minute exactly how it works, but to me it was something that was slightly unbelievable when I got told it, and it took me 10 minutes of battling to actually then see the magical Superhold switch where the machines just flip back into a strange configuration in reels when you change stake, and then lo and behold it superholds for jackpot. Very, very strange, but I'll tell you what, there's been not many tricks since this that has amazed me as much as this one. Now, there had to be certain different things, requirements in order for it to work, which we'll come to all in a minute, exactly how it does. But if you was to take multiple jackpots out of this machine, and I think I did discuss this in Barcrest Cash Attack episode, the machine itself, or the programming inside it, has anti-fraud software, and it would critical alarm if it goes behind on percentage. So what that means is if you was to take multiple jackpots out of this, eventually the percentage will go so bad that the machine will be like, something is up, and it will just critical alarm. And there's nothing you can do about that. It will say on the LCD screen, critical alarm, and it will give a little code. I can't remember exactly what it was, and it was unplayable. You turn it on and off at the wall, wouldn't work. You'd have to have an engineer to come out to fix it. And lo and behold, if that happened, the machine would be chipped. And when I first played my very first one, I wasn't aware of this, and luckily I didn't push my luck too much. But as time progressed and I carried on doing this trick and speaking to other people and hearing stories, you do become aware of the critical error. But knowing when to stop, when is your last jackpot that you take? You know, they're the rhetorical questions that you ask yourself, because 70 quid is, you know, it's quite a bit of money. So if you can make yourself an extra 70 quid out of a machine, it makes all the difference on your daily profit. So it's very difficult at times to gauge, and a lot of times people push their luck trying to take that extra jackpot, and yeah, lo and behold, the machine would critical alarm. Now, Barcrest themselves made a lot of mistakes, as I mentioned in the previous episodes, of their oversight or their overlooking of software and how they didn't really test their software. And this particular machine is an example of that. However, it did work at 35. Hence the machine that you see in front of you, because unfortunately they haven't got the £70 release on the emulator, but I can still show you exactly how it's done. Later on as well, there's more examples of this which will be showcased in different episodes. Okay, so how is this trick done then? Well, the first requirement for this trick to work is this setup. This is the starting setup. This is if you turn the machine on and off, you will see these starting reels. Jackpot across the board pretty much. And that is what you needed. Now, don't get me wrong, if someone put 20 quid in this and you went and played it after them, it could still work. But what you needed the machine not to do was give you a normal superhold. So if it gave you a normal super hold and then you went and played it afterwards, this trick would not work. It needed to have the starting reels like in the background, if anything. So what you really needed to see was this in front of you. Now the way that this trick worked is still bizarre to this day. It still baffles my mind. But you needed the minimum stake in your balance. So in this case, it's 30p or 50p a play on this. So I've included the buttons at the top, or the credit amount, so I can do this. But on £70 jackpot, you have 3 stakes. So the top stake is £1, and the bottom stake is 25p or 30p. So depending on what it was, you needed to be able to put that in. So in this case,
welcome to Rainbow Riches.
30p in. Now this machine's going to be a little bit loud, so I might just I might just talk about it very quickly and then just get into showing you as a separate sort of clip, so you can actually hear what I'm talking about. But that's the first step, and then all you need to do after that is put 50p in. So you've got 80p, and put it up to 50p and spin the max stake off. Now once you spin the max stake off, you would drop stake like that, and at this point here the machine could flick and it could do a weird spin, and it will drop in basically a setup for jackpot. And then when you put another 50p in and change stake up, it would super hold, and you'd super hold for jackpot, you collect your jackpot, and then lo and behold the machine would just give it to you. And then you just carry on, rinse and repeat, get another one, rinse and repeat, get another one. Now if any point that you get a feature board in between, because obviously it doesn't super hold all the time, you can collect your wins along the way. That didn't matter. You can collect 3-4 quids, features, whatever the machine gave you, and however far you thought that game was going to go, that feature board was going to go before it killed you. Just collect what you can, and then that's just extra money in the bank, and then you just go again. Eventually, after a lot of jackpots, this would critical error. So that's what I'm going to begin to show you. Then the second part of the video is going to be what happened once these were chipped. Once these no longer worked, the programmer or the engineers reprogrammed it, re-chipped it. There was actually a way of still playing these and winning jackpot of these by trapping a jackpot. And it became still playable good games, and people played these quite frequently. There was one as well called Pac-Man, which was again a playable game, and yeah, they actually became quite a fun game to play. A couple of things to add, which I'll probably talk about later, is that the way to see if this is chipped or not was all to do with the collect button. So the collect button would either flash or it would stay on, that is in lit on, and then off. The icons here, sorry, if those, I can't remember the exact which way it was around. I think if it flashed, it was chipped. If it stayed on, it was unchipped. Or it was the other way around. I can't, my memory's terrible, but it was something to do with that. And then that was the same telltale on other games such as It's Amazing and Pac-Man's, which will be its own episode. But ultimately, that was the way that you saw if it was chipped. These icons could come all down as well. And if they did, it was an invincible board and a free jackpot essentially. So you could have that, take the top, that could go big, and then still rip it for a jackpot afterwards. So there was a lot going on this game. But the way that this original program worked was this jackpot Superhold switch method, and that's what I'll show you now. £35 jackpots, to my knowledge, could never ever be chipped. They will still work to this day. £70 jackpots did get chipped eventually. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to continue the video, but with the mic muted, and all I want you to do is keep your eyes on the reels. So every single time I put a credit in and spin it off, just keep your eyes on it, and then I'll bring you back when it actually happens, or you'll see it anyway. Right, mic mute time, and let's get playing.
Go on, you will, you will.
Okay, so did everyone just see that? That spin then? It just flicked. It just flipped up. Watch when I put 50p in, and then I change stake, it'll super hold. I'm going to mute the mic again so I can turn the volume down a little bit on the game. That's how mad that flick was. And watch this.
Off we go. Woohoo! Rainbow riches. Come back soon.
Well, that's how amazing that was. And the good thing about it is that you just go again now. You know, another 50p in. And yeah, it'll just flip again. It'll flip back to Superhold, to the jackpot setup, and then it'll Superhold again. And you get another jackpot, and then you get another jackpot. I used to take about 3 out of these when it was £70, and then I didn't take no more. I didn't push my luck. But that's really the trick. Like, an absolute crazy thing. Being in a pub, being told that, knowing that the world is at your feet, and you know where 20 of these are, it was a good time to be around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the second way that the game was actually manipulated for jackpot, and it's all to do with trying to trap it with the icons. So I'm going to just quickly pause the clip, and I'll bring you back in 2 secs. Okay, so I'll just quickly pause it to make it easy for me. But this game here it knows that it's giving me that 35. So the machine's going to be slightly behind on percentage. So I'm going to rattle through a quick 30 quid off camera and just get it quite happy. And then I'll show you exactly how this is done. I think I'll do that first and then bring you back for the actual method. So yeah, I'll bring you back when I've rattled through this. Okay, so I've buzzed through 40 to 50 quid, so the game should now be in a reasonable state, a buzzy state, for me to showcase how this was obtained. The jackpot was obtained through the second method. Now, this was only beneficial and worthwhile on the £70 versions, and also obviously later chips, later programs. You would never do this on the program one, you would just do the original, get jackpot off that Superhold flick. But this game here, a lot of people didn't bother with, but it was a very good money earner. And that's because there was a lot of them around. Not a lot of people knew how to play them properly, and equally as well, they recovered quite quickly. I mean, it was a very popular game in the pubs, and there was 3 types, remember? So a great little number, a great little game. Now the first little thing that again I mentioned in the first clip was these pots. If they come down, rubbing your hands together because you've got a free jackpot. It's an invincible board, you can't die, and it will still have another jackpot in afterwards. So that's the first thing you'd always keep your eye on. The second thing is you needed to make sure that this game was actually worth playing in the first place. You needed to make sure it had value in. It was in a state that you can attack it and try and obtain that jackpot. And the way that I did this, and please whack in the comments if you did it any other way, was I would try and get a skill bonus. Now on £35 jackpot machines, such as the one you see in front of you, the max stake you can play is 50p. Now unfortunately on 50p a play, it's just numbers in view. However, on a £70 version, the max stake is £1, and if you was to play this on £1 ago and get enough numbers for a bonus, which is only 4 numbers, the bonus would be slow, and you can choose what you want on that bonus. It'll just be on the LCD screen, one at a time, it'll flick past. Now, if you saw a thing called Runaway Trail, you'll know straight away that this game had value in, because that feature only appeared on that LCD screen when it had a value in. It was like a 20-30 quid feature or value. So if you saw that, you're happy days. But a lot of the time, that would not appear. But the game would still have enough value in for you to trap jackpot, or at least go for it. So what you need to do, and this is what I did, is I would take selector. Now selector is what it says on the tin. It selects for certain points on the board and certain cash amounts. If it's hitting grapes, which is 2 quid, or anything above £2.50 or 3 quid, then you know that this has got value in and it's got a jackpot in. However, if it's selecting quite slow and 50p and struggling to even get up there, then you know it's not really worth it. Take the board and collect your money and, you know, run for the hills basically. But that's the way that I did it. Please whack in the comments if there's any other particular ways or methods that you did to see if this had value in. For me, that's the only known one that I know of. And yeah, that's what I would do. Then once you're on the feature board, you wanted to select it as low as possible, so 50p. You keep your eyes on the icons. Like I said, if they all come down, happy days. A lot of the time, 9 times out of 10, that would never happen. But you needed to try and obtain 6 gold pots. Now, that is done for a numerous amount of ways. You can actually get extra pots off this bonus. There it is there. And you needed to, you know, pick or choose which board you wanted to go for. So if you got a feature board and only like 4 drop down, you could just kill that board off. And that was something that I did certainly quite a lot, because next press could be a feature board again. It'd love to do that. Sometimes it even flashed up on the LCD screen, here we go again or something. So it will just bring you back on that feature board. However, that doesn't change the fact that the pots are shit, so you needed to kill the board off again. But what I'm saying is that you needed to pick and choose what boards look the best. So you needed to get enough pots to get invincible, and that was 6 pots. So 3 pots, essentially the more pots you get, the closer you move inwards. So 1 pot's on the outside, 2 pots the second level, 3 pots is the inner level. But then when you start accumulating gold ones, it doesn't do anything extra. But if you manage to get 3, it is an invincible board. And this game knows that. It blocks it like the plague. It avoids the 3rd pot. So you needed to work out a way and method of getting that 3rd pot. So please step up to the unlock bonus scenario. So this is a very, very lovely bit of engineering or programming by Barcrest, and this is the case across a lot of their games. Pac-Man was a clone of this. It was slightly different, but very similar. And of course, Alien, which will be its own video, a great game, had a bonus which you could be unlocked. So basically what that meant was that you could hit this bonus gamble button here, and it would zoom across and hit random things, but it would avoid the question mark. Eventually it would hit it if you pushed it too far, i.e. you're too high on the cash, or you've accumulated like a red no lose, an extra life, a lucky 7, and the machine just thinks, well, I ain't giving you no more. It will bin you off. But it wouldn't do that. It would do that, sorry, but it wouldn't do that until you got all them. So you needed to know when to go for the trap. So the way it's done, simple as this: you select it, making sure that it's got enough value in. You collect a low value. You go in on a feature on a low value, sorry. You see there's enough pots. Maybe there's 4 pots or 5 pots, so you need to get 1 more. Happy days. That looks good to me. You just start hitting the bonus gamble straight away. Now that bonus gamble then will start hitting things. You get a super bonus, you take an extra life. You then get a red no lose. You then get 2 steps. You then get an extra pot. Now you're in a position suddenly that you've got enough pots to get jackpot, and you've got a load of what I call ingredients. You know, an extra life, a red no lose, a lucky 7, 2 steps or 3 steps. All these things that you can now try and, you know, get yourself up to that 6th pot. Because at that point now you might only have 1 pot or no pot, so you need to start high-lowing. The good thing about this game as well is that when you move in or you accumulate pots and play the feature and go in, it can give you super cash, which boosts it even further. You can get red heart, which does the same. There's mega cash or super cash strike, which there's lots of different ways of getting cash, which of course if you get extra cash you get extra pots, because these sit next to those values. So a little bit confusing, but you'll see exactly what I mean. So just keep your eyes out on the bonus and see, you know, what I accumulate, and then also where I go with the feature boards. Again, I'm going to have to mute the mic, so yeah, I'll pause the video and then bring you back. Right, I just got a feature board and it just reminded me of a thing I completely forgot to mention, and that is safe cash wins. Yes, they're the most annoying thing on this game. Well, it can be at least. Safe cash, for those that don't know what it is, basically it can give it at any point landing on bonus square here. You can hit safe and then it will just give you a random amount in the middle here and it will become safe, which means that if you die, it will give you that. Now that's what, we want to avoid that, because this can get quite big firstly, and second of all, we don't want any small wins, we just want the jackpot. You can accumulate bigger cash wins or cash pots by this bonus move segment here, which moves you around and it loves landing on cash pot. And of course this one here, bonus cash. So something that I forgot to mention, so I thought I'd quickly mention it to you. Now I'm going to be muting the mic in a sec, so just keep your eyes on what I do. I'll be moving the cursor a little bit. I'm going to try and accumulate loads of ingredients on here, steps, extra life, enough pots to go for the trap, and then of course as well trying to kill it off for that 10, this 10 here, which will step to a red 11, well 2 steps away, and that's the way that I normally trap these. Right, I'm going to mute the mic and hopefully get it.
Go on, you will, you will. Off we go. Time for a jig. Off we go. Time for a jig. Time for a jig. Rainbow riches. Come back soon.
Well, what you saw there is a massive rarity. They never ever really carry on, in my opinion, especially at 70 if you trap them early. That looked a little bit like, it wasn't, but it looked a little bit like nearly a jackpot board. But you can see how that bonus was like completely unlocked in hitting certain things. And even though I accumulated a couple of those pots of gold, it gave me enough to get up there and get enough. So even if it wasn't that board, a guaranteed board, you can see how jackpot was easily manipulated, if you might want to call it. And yeah, great little trick, great little empty, and of course not an empty, but like 3 jackpots on the original program. Great little jackpot trap at the end. Like that 23 extra is like rare as rock and horse, so don't expect that if you ever play one. But I'll leave it there. A great time to be around. Plenty of these around in the UK. All scattered around Portsmouth and every single city in the UK. A lot of Fruit Machine players love these. So please whack in the comments your experiences, and I'll see you in the next one. Ta-da!